I think the percussion guns are going to be something of the past because there's no comparison between them.
Yeah.
You know, each percussion gun, if you want a different effect, you have to take the head off and then get another head and put it on.
Behind the practice.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Behind the Practice. I'm Katie Brinkley, and today we're sitting down with Jeff Maier, and it is going to be a really fun conversation because, well, we might even get to see some demos during today's conversation. So if you're listening to the podcast, make sure you watch today's episode once you're done listening because today's episode is going to be a lot of fun. So Jeff, thank you so much for joining me on Behind the Practice today.
My pleasure. It's great to see you and nice to meet you.
Yeah, and we've had the opportunity to try out the product just a little bit, but before I jump too far ahead of myself, talk to us a little bit about what you do and rapid release.
Well, it's high-speed vibration therapy, and everyone knows the percussion guns, and the percussion guns have been around for literally 100 years. They all have the same stroke, about 5/8 of an inch, and they're all under 60 hertz. And so they're great on the belly of the muscle, but there's typically nothing much wrong with the belly of the muscle. They look great on video, and they're good for circulation, but not much more. Dr. Stanbridge is the inventor of rapid release, my partner, and he was always thinking there's got to be something that works on everything for everybody. And he just kept thinking that, and then, he had all the gadgets, but some would work on some and not others, and then he was watching a commercial late night on some high-speed tool, and he's thinking, what about high-speed vibration? Because there's a lot of science on vibration, whole body vibration. And so he started tinkering around, and he came up with this prototype. And when I saw it, I didn't have any pain on my body, but I took it home and I used it on people, and everyone was just having phenomenal results. And I knew we had something there. And I ended up partnering with them and developing now this on our 4th generation now.
So for people who might not be familiar with this type of care, just to break it down to us for somebody that's brand new to, muscle stimulation in this, as opposed to having a traditional massage.
Well, I think maybe if I talk about how it works, you can see when I turn it on that you really can't even see it move hardly. It's only moving 1/16 of an inch. But it's going so fast that you can put a lot of energy into whatever size area you want. And so it really works all over the body. Like if you try and use a percussion gun on your fingers, it's just going to move them away. Or trying to use it on a bony area, it's going to lose contact with the skin. With this, it always stays in contact with the skin. Is very therapeutic. It works at what's called the Nogier frequency, which is intended for connective tissue. So and you can actually feel it when, like you put it on your thigh or something, you can feel it just move around all that fascia. And that's where our pain sensors are.
Yeah.
Most of our pain sensors are in our fascia. And they also talk about our emotions being stuck in our fascia, like the issues are in the tissues. So a lot of our therapists have people that just really open up and start crying or laughing or some kind of emotional release that they get from the fascia.
So you said earlier that you and your partner started this, you're on your 4th generation. You're the engineer behind it. So talk to us a little bit about what drew you to actually to wanting to go down this path of wellness and helping people through, high intensity vibration.
Well, being an engineer is not the most thankful job because you're in the cube and they're always like pump more code, or create more drawings or whatever it is. And one of the things I love about this business is you get instant results and people are so grateful. I mean, we have so many people tear up after we treat them and, things that people have had for 20, 30 years. And then we release them in one day. And so, the amount of gratitude that we get from our clients is so important in just keeping us going. And also, going to these conferences where there's a bunch of healthy people and we're talking about health, I've learned so much. And it's my kind of people. A lot of these people are very heart-centered and they really care about people. And it's just such a nice environment to work in. And that's why I feel like it's not even work. I love going to conferences and helping people out. And
so break down, I guess, let's get real scientific and engineering with this next question. What's the real difference between rapid release and then percussion traditional therapy?
Well, so this is very therapeutic because it works on the connective tissue, and that's where most of the issues are. And a lot of the adhesions that we get are in the endpoints of the ligaments, tendons, and fascia areas. Because when you're exercise, you break up cross-fiber adhesions in the belly of the muscle. So just a little bit of work, like right on the area at the endpoint, is like a whole lot of work on the belly of the muscle. So it's actually a whole body vibration, because you can use it on your scalp, you can use it on your jaw, up here for sinuses, meridian lines, suture lines, back of the neck, all the areas that you can't really use it on with a percussion. And because of the format, you can reach the middle of your back, you can reach the back of your head. You can't really do that with a percussion gun unless you're super flexible.
Yeah.
Even then, getting in the middle of your back is, they make these sticks that are curved, and then you can put that gun on the back, and then you can try and get in your back.
So let's talk a little bit about using these. So when we were speaking earlier, you were telling me about how this has been great for athletes. So how have a lot of athletes and people who play sports been able to see the results and some of the benefits of using this?
Well, flexibility is key for avoiding injuries. And in the Shaolin Temple in China, they do this exercise called Page de Lang, which translated roughly means stretching and slapping.
Yeah.
So they'll put your ankle way up here, and then they beat the crap out of their hamstring. And then every time they're hitting their hamstring, they're micro-stretching it on top of the stretch that they're already doing. And so it gets flexibility and strength. It's called hormetics. Okay. It's like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And so, you stress it a little over what it's used to, and then you get a lot of gains really fast. But also, it gets a synovial fluid moving in like your hands. So anyone over 40, if I give like a 2 or 3 minute massage on their hands, if they compare their hands, everyone can tell exactly what the difference is. And you can imagine if you're running to first base, if you're all loose and ease of movement, you can run to first base and shave off 1/10 of a second. That might be difference between winning the game.
Safe and out. Yeah, safe and out. I mean, it's a game of inches, right? So for people who may be thinking, they're like, well, I don't know about this. It sounds really painless. It sounds kind of relaxing. But, what about any sort of trauma to the tissue? Because I know a lot of, maybe they haven't heard of this type of, therapy before and this type of work. Is there any sort of trauma that they can be on the lookout for?
We've had 0 injuries in 15 years. And, you'd really have to hit somebody over the head with it. Because it's, one of the other things that's really cool is it's got 5 different built-in heads. So, and it's orbital motion. So on this side, it vibrates in the same plane as your skin, so you can use it on your jaw, your forehead, your scalp, any part of the body. And then this you could use for really deep tissue if you wanted to get in between the shoulder blades or do acupuncture with it. Acupressure is actually very, very effective, and you don't need a needle. Anything that gives stimulation, like you can use an ice cube for acupressure. So this, we probably have a few hundred acupuncturists that swear by this, and then they don't have to do the needles. And a lot of physical therapists, they don't do dry needling anymore because they have to get certified every year. Yeah. And they just use this instead. This is kind of your go-to treatment head for most everything. It's pretty aggressive, but it's, it just glides, and you can just, you can't hurt yourself with it. This is a soft tip, and so this is like if you're going over like an ankle or your Achilles, you might want to do it. And
so anybody can use this. You can do it on yourself. You can, if you wanted to purchase one, if you have pain, right? You could purchase this. Now, is this something that you could be on the lookout for at your, you've mentioned acupuncturists, you've mentioned, maybe your local clinician has one, or?
Yeah, chiropractors, massage therapists, athletic trainers. And lawyer.
So it works in a variety of clinics.
Yes.
So one of the things that I noticed when I was being gifted the opportunity to try out the rapid release is it was incredibly relaxing. It felt like I had a 30-minute massage in 3 minutes.
And you don't even have to take your clothes off.
No. And you found the pressure point. Okay, here it is, and we worked right in. I work at a desk, so I have that habit of hunching over, and I already feel the release up in my shoulders, my lower back. We tested it on my plantar fascia a bit, and I grind my teeth at night. We did it over my jaw. All of that, it was extremely relaxing and not painful at all.
Well, this is a very friendly frequency. It's actually right where the male and female voice intersect. And, sound healing has been the standard of care for hundreds of thousands of years, but 99.9% of that energy bounces off the air-skin barrier. So we're getting that same sound energy that shamans and, the medicine men have been using, drummers and all that, and we're putting it into the body with nearly 100% efficiency.
Explain that a little bit more for people that are like, wait, I thought we were just talking about, a different way of releasing muscle tension. Talk about how the sound frequency and it's working its way in with what the rapid release does.
Well, it's about the sound frequency. It's the Nogier frequency for connective tissue, but it's also right between the male and female voice. It's a D3 on a guitar, right in the middle of a piano. It's just a very friendly frequency, and it's really easy to hum. In fact, if you hum it while you're doing it, you can feel those waves resonating throughout your body, and it actually increases your nitrous oxide levels pretty significantly in the upper half, like your head area, like 10 to 15x. I think 3 minutes of humming. And then if you do it, about 3 to 4x in the rest of your body.
So throughout the industry, how are you feeling about their embracing of this new technology?
It's we have some groups of doctors that think they know everything, but it seems like the smarter ones are the ones that are more open to it. Mm-hmm. And the functional neurologists and the people that have been doing Rolfing, that really understand the fascia and the connective tissue and how important it is. Those are our biggest fans, and they're raving fans about us.
Yeah. So why do you think that the industry is slow to adopt innovation like this?
Well, I don't know if it's that slow. I think we haven't done a good job getting it out there.
Okay.
And I think it's starting to really catch momentum, and we're really hitting that hockey stick and acceleration of our revenue. So I think it's going to be a household word pretty soon. In fact, I think the percussion guns are going to be something of the past because there's no comparison between them.
Yeah.
Each percussion gun, if you want a different effect, you have to take the head off and then get another head and put it on. And with this, you have 5 built-in heads, so all you just do is rotate your wrist which way you want to use it. And then you can also even vary it. This is our professional model. This is the one that the doctors use. And this has a really big surface area here, so they can just cover the body really fast with it and not have to worry about going over any bony areas or hurting anybody. This is our power band here, and this is the one I used on your hips.
Okay.
And as you notice, it's kind of like a volumizing shampoo for your fascia. And if you can volumize that fascia and then let it go back into homeostasis is where it should be. It's a game changer. So my story is I had a fusion in my low back, and my fusion was actually caused by a piriformis syndrome, where I sat in a desk for 30 years and my butt cheek was locked up.
Yeah.
And no physical therapist, chiropractor, massage therapist could release it. And I got a call from this woman, and she goes, "I'm a massage therapist down here, and I'm doing miracles with your device all the time." And I didn't say it, but we hear it all the time.
Sure.
But then she said that she was local and offered me a free massage, so I went there, and I told her, okay, here's where I hurt. It's down here. And, rapid release was a godsend for me because when I use this, nothing would stop my pain.
Yeah.
But when I use this, my pain would go away for, all day mostly. Sometimes I'd have to use it again in the evening, but most of the time it'd be 24 hours. But next morning I'd wake up and have to use it. And after this session, I didn't have to use it anymore.
Yeah.
And what she did is I told her it's back here, and she goes, lay face up. And I went, wait, it's down here. And she goes, I know what I'm doing. And so she used 2 of them, and she just grinded my whole top of my body, top of my hands, bottom of my hands. She got my intercostals with this and chest, everything. And then she had me flip over, and I said, okay, this is my spot. And she goes, I got you. And she did the same thing on my back, the whole up and down and everything. And then she had me flip over a third time. When I flipped over a third time, I felt my back crack a bunch. And maybe with a good massage, I might get one crack or something.
Yeah.
And then she walked around, she cracked my shoulders, my wrists, elbows, everything was just so loose.
Yeah.
And I felt so good after that. And then I was so shocked that my pain didn't come back for like a week.
Yeah.
And then when it started coming back after a week, I thought, I'm going to go have her do this. And then after, I'm going to get in a float tank, and I'm going to let my fascia realign. And ever since then, I've felt like a kid. And I'm 65, and I still go wakeboarding and mountain biking, and I feel better than I've ever felt in my life. In fact, when I was younger, I was like walking like a Cro-Magnon man after doing any kind of exercise. So
Yeah. What do you think the biggest misconception is about musculoskeletal treatments?
I think it's so important to move fluids in and out. I had this very heavyweight diabetic guy, probably 100 or more pounds overweight. And this is at least 10 years ago. And he told me that every time his doctor used this on, his blood sugar would drop by over 100 points or 100 points. And I just kind of like, yeah, right. And then it was about 5 years later, I was at an athletic conference, and there's this technology called muscle sound that can actually read with a diagnostic ultrasound how much glycogen content's in the muscles. And we had an athlete in our booth, and so we tested his calves, and they came out at 40 and 42%. And we roughed up each calf for 3 minutes and measured them again, and they were at 80%. I was shocked. And what I realized that overweight guy was telling me the truth, and I was just too stupid to listen or to understand how it was happening. And we were at a keto conference about 2 weeks later, and Keto Mojo, they test ketones and glucose. And I told them, anybody that has a real high blood sugar reading, send them over to our booth. We'll work on it, and then we'll send them back.
Yeah.
And we were routinely dropping 50 points, and one person even over 100.
Wow, that's incredible. So how do you measure long-term success versus, beyond just the immediate results? Because I feel great right now. Granted, that was just maybe 30 minutes ago that I had the pleasure of having the rapid release therapy on me. But how do you measure those long-term successes for people? Is this something that people are going to have to do for the rest of their life, or?
That was kind of problematic, because I'd see these people at shows and I'd treat them, and they say, oh, I got some great relief, but then you wouldn't see them again. And so you didn't really know how long it lasted. But I did see one guy 8 years after we released his issues in his arms. He had dual surgery scheduled for carpal tunnel at Stanford, and he was ready to go. And then one of our docs worked on him, gave him 3 treatments, and he didn't need it. And I saw him 8 years later, and it stuck. That might be more of the exception, because it really depends on what your lifestyle is. You probably have to make some lifestyle changes.
Yeah, as with anything, ma'am. So if someone's listening right now and they're like, man, I need to try this out, how can they find out if there is a rapid release therapy in their area? How can they get their hands on one of these?
We have a locator page on our website. We don't have all our people on there, but we have a lot. And if you want to call us, we can find you a practitioner too.
Amazing. So what's their website? Tell us where we can find out more about you. And
rapidreleasetech.com.
All right, great. And tell us a little bit more about, if there's any other questions that people might have, what's the best way for someone to reach out and get in touch with you?
Well, it's kind of hard to sell this just by talking about it. It's you really got to feel it, because it's very visceral, and once you feel it, then you get it.
Oh.
So.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people, they walk by our booth and they think we're another percussion device, and they just walk by, and then it's like, let me just put it on your hand for just 1 second. Okay, just 1 second. And then you put it on their hand, they're like, oh, wow. Okay, can you do it over here and over here?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. Well, Jeff, this has been an incredible conversation. I really appreciate the time today, and thank you again for letting me try the rapid release therapy earlier.
My pleasure.
Behind the Practice is produced by Next Step Social and Podcasting and hosted by Katie Brinkley and Sean Quintero. A special thank you to our guests today. This episode was recorded live at the Boston BioLife Functional Longevity Summit. A special thank you to the team that helped make this podcast happen.